Yeah.
We're live.
Yes.
It's live. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fortnightly community call for the Flower Project. Special day today. I mean, special in so many ways. First of all, it's the Equinox, and I find often Kate and I kind of check in at like the solstice, the equinox, and it does feel like this kind of point of like, okay, summer's over, you guys take over, do the spring thing. Also, we have Alan Clements here from Dark Hollow Biodynamic, and Alan and I and Kate, we are in the Celestial Planting Calendar. So it was so cool to see on the same page, like the bees at the top and the flowers at the bottom, that I hope we get the chance to talk about.
I think not.
It would be awesome to hear your views on why May Bruce uses honey in her quick return compost activator and the divinity of the flowers. There's got to be divinity in the honey, and tease that out a little. And the other special thing is Kate's here, back from Costa Rica. So I don't know how much you want to share. We've just had a chat before we came on live. But I think, first up, Alan, can we hand over to you for a bit of an introduction? Tell us about your work.
Sure. I happen to have, I was going to say I have a few pictures, but the internet is denying me right now. But I can describe and help draw a picture in everybody's mind. I have a little farmstead in central Pennsylvania, probably a little closer to Baltimore than Philadelphia, but sort of in that L. And originally from South Louisiana, I'm a Cajun fella, and if I go down to visit, which I am going to be doing in a few weeks, I'll come back with a little bit of an accent, y'all. I'll talk about my mom and my daddy and going to school in a pirogue. But anyway, I've been in Pennsylvania and for many years now, and always loved gardening. And one day, my wife's a Waldorf teacher, so that's the connectivity to anthroposophy and consequently biodynamics. And she encouraged me to go to the year-long training at the Pfeiffer Center several years ago, and that was amazing. A little bit of background in permaculture as well, but really apply all of those things here on our farmstead. Try to teach, try to share, just like Kate was talking about, the kids at the Waldorf School, other farmers, and also like I really enjoy writing and thinking and philosophy, and so have really been kind of unpacking biodynamics with my really intimate relationship with the land here. As we know, we can look at it from a lot of different lenses and through multiple lenses at the same time. It's a beautiful thing, and so that's been a lot of fun too.
I really appreciated the link you sent me on LinkedIn with your perspectives on it was a piece on business, and marketing and metrics, and how as entrepreneurs we're kind of taught to market a certain way and look at certain data points, and you're going, hey, let's flip this a little.
Well, there's so many more data points to look at, so you must be missing something. And marketing is my day job, and I'm fortunate enough to work for a company that has a focus on sustainability, a bio-based product, and is an all remote company, which also adds to, I think, their sustainability aspect, but also being able to attract talent from all over. So that was a neat kind of connection between my, they say dress for the job you want, right? But I've been blessed with video, filmmaking sort of skills and marketing skills, and so I'm able to use those every day, and that's wonderful.
That's awesome.
Kate, you've also got a background in that sort of stuff, hey?
Yeah, so I'm a Waldorf homeschooler, and I have certifications in permaculture as well. And I transitioned out of film and television. I worked professionally as a writer and researcher, and archival documentary kind of person and all that kind of stuff. So I worked on big sets, and I worked on lots of little indies, and that was incredible. And then when I had my daughter, it was just such a moment of like, okay, now I can't do this. I can't do any of this anymore. And luckily, I live very close to the Steiner College of Canada, and started going to the parent and taught programs, and just fell in love with anthroposophy, and completely changed my focus, and became a homeschooler, which I never imagined I was going to do, and fell in love with biodynamics. But I'm an urban kind of biodynamic hobbyist, kind of this urban gardener. And so came through it in the beginning through permaculture. So I have certifications in edible food forests and that kind of a thing. And it just was that missing piece. Like they're so complementary. It's so similar, I think, in focus, but the spirituality and the idea of connecting the cosmos in our minds and in our thoughts and in the way that we perceive the natural intelligence that surrounds us, and giving over that, being able to really have conversations with the consciousness of the ecosystems that we create. That's what I fell so in love with. And so now I travel and I do astrocartography. So my love for the cosmos has also just become turned into this whole other side hustle that I do, with astrology and helping world school families to find their best locations on the planet. And then I get to world school my daughter as well. So it was just down in Costa Rica, doing that, and working with a lot of kind of ex-film and television people that have all left the biz and now are world schooling and trying different things. I think that there was so much change in so many industries over the last 5 years that there's also this sense that families want more independence in how they're living. And down there is quite a large permaculture and biodynamic community. There's some beautiful farms and apiaries there as well. And I was in Nosara. I don't know if you've ever been down there. So it's in the Nicoya Peninsula, and it's about 3 hours from the major city of Liberia. So it's a real expat hub, but there's a lot of beautiful farms. So it was amazing. It was a really great immersion for 6 weeks, and to get out of the Canadian cold wasn't so bad either. Because as a gardener, when this is like the time of purgatory, just waiting for things to thaw. So yeah. Anyway, so that's a bit of it.
Okay, we're gonna have to have way more conversations. There's such an interesting parallel between
I
our
would
two
love
areas.
that. Yeah, I would love that.
Nice.
Yeah. So Kate follows me on Blue Borage, and when I first started the May Bruce experiment, what was it? The Holy Nights, Christmas 2024. She was like, I have to learn more. And I think it was because of Kate that whose idea was it to apply for the International Biodynamic Research Conference? I can't remember.
It's all you, honestly, Katrina. You drive this. I support you, but this is so inspired by your work ethic, and you know what you're doing. I'm always like, how do I do this? Katrina, answer all my questions, and was so forthcoming and kind and incredible in guiding me through this process of understanding really the 6 main plants, the 6 composts. It's really grounded. The May Bruce were grounded that understanding in a totally different way for me. It was all you, girl.
No. So on the marketing side and how we grow the method, I really look to Kate for like where do we go next? So this conversation with you, Alan, I wanted Kate to be here and for you to connect and we brainstorm maybe after the call, but honey, can we go straight there?
I told you not to call me that at work. I think that was in an old television commercial, like Honey Bunches of Oats or something.
Totally. That might be an Americanism thing.
I think so.
So, way back when I was before I started Blue Barge, when the kids were little and I was going all to all the reading groups, we had a lecture. I think it was an anthroposophical doctor or nurse who talked about a remedy of using milk and honey, and I think lemon in bath water, and having this bath over 3 nights as a restorative thing that made me think, oh, honey, okay, what is it with honey? That there's something deeply, deeply healing outside of its role as food. That when I saw honey in the recipe May Bruce gave for her quick return compost activator, it was like, okay, that makes sense. But she talks about the divinity of the flowers being sufficient in itself. But there's divinity in the honey. And I'm not a beekeeper. I haven't gone into a beehive. I don't quite understand that. But can we hear your thoughts? If you've got anything on the top of your head, honey.
Well, imagine, there's a lot of description of the nectar and the bees and the activity of the bees as love, and sort of a deliverer or a reorganizer of love all over the farm. I know. Yeah, and so I guess, just to start with the end, like imagine kind of having this act of love and collection of all of these beautiful expressions of all of these different things, then actually bringing it together and further processing or alchemizing that, condensing it even, when you look at it that way, just from a sort of spiritual sense, that just seems like a really beautiful thing. Condensed, packaged, delicious love from all over, from basically like this sort of sampling from every beautiful walk you've ever taken within 4 miles of the beehive is all in one place, condensed. So that is a beautiful thought. When you were talking earlier, I thought about, and I'm really terrible at recalling and quoting and citing literature. I get the gist of it. I'm a very fast reader, but I'm not good at precise quotes. But there's a part in Steiner's collection on bees, Steiner's lectures on bees. I think that's what it's called, is Bees, the book, right? Talks about honey as nutriment and this sort of scale from birth to old age, and it's the milk to honey gradient. And so, early on, he talks about babies and how they're, milk is their thing, and that's kind of in the calcium realm, right? And then you kind of get up to this more crystalline silica realm as you get older. Milk is not as good for you. Honey is. Babies, you're not even supposed to give them honey, right? There's issues with that. So it's just something else that comes to mind, is the part of the process And when you have compost, you're on this interesting, I mean, it's a cycle, but you're still on this threshold between something old and brand new. Right? You have this old refuse, these food scraps, this manure. And I mean, you know, in a cycle you can put a stake in it, right? And anything is the beginning and the end, right? But I do kind of think of compost as this sort of, you know, the before the phoenix, you know, rises from the ashes sort of thing. And so what an interesting place to put honey, if it means that for the human life cycle.
Very cool. I have to sit with that for a little. May also, as she developed the recipe and she was posting it out around England, she couldn't mix the honey with the herbs. They had to be in 2 parcels until she stabilized the honey with lactose powder. And then that lactose honey powder could be mixed with the dried herbs, and then it was just 1 sachet, literally like a tea bag that went out. So, and that's adding a whole other picture of the milk and the honey and the flowers.
And look, from a I'm not going to say scientific, but from a more sort of calculated, maybe scientific aspect, I mean, sugar is not, I mean, is definitely a component in, you know, your Korean natural farming and things like that, right? So, and as we know, in microbiotic activity and growth, so you can definitely see the more practical, more physical aspect of it, its benefit.
I tried the floral compost activator with molasses, and it didn't feel the same.
Like it didn't bubble? It just didn't have the same fermentation process, or it didn't work the same as well?
It bubbled, it fermented, but it just didn't feel like it had that magical, energetic life.
Well, that makes me think of a premise of biodynamic farming being to stay within the realm of life, right? And when you have, I mean, I think honey has a way of staying alive more so than, you know, condensed beet sugars, right, in a jar for however long. So there may be something to how long that has sat on a shelf as well. But I think honey does have a way of staying alive for 1,000 years even, you know?
Yeah. Very cool. Do you want to share anything with people about the what you wrote in the Celestial Planting Calendar, that like using the lunar calendar for beekeeping or tending your hives? I mean, I was looking at it this morning and I even thought, so there are certain days where I'm more likely to get stung if I'm working in the garden around a beehive.
And
so for me is
today is one of those days, moon being in a water sign, and there was a little bee activity up, even though it's a little chilly outside today. They're doing some cleanup work, but I could definitely, I mean, you can feel cosmos aside. I think a beekeeper begins to develop an intuition and a listening or a translation, and kind of understand the energetic level of the bees. Maybe it's their buzzing, maybe it's their activity, but you know that they're either a little more protective or not. And today was definitely one of those days. And you know, for me, it's just, I read this from Matthias Thun, Maria Thun's son, who wrote about beekeeping, and you know, took on some of their collective findings and documented those. And so It's really interesting. Like, you know, if you get into the cosmic aspect of planting, it's a disturbance and an exposure that creates the capacity to take on the cosmos. So it's the tilling of the soil, or the opening of a hole, or the exposing of soil under the ground that sort of creates that ability to take on what that imprint is going to be. And I guess what they applied to the bees was the idea of, and beekeeping in the way that we do it now with the Langstroth or some other formats of hives, as you take that cover off, right, and the bees are now exposed to the sky, to the cosmos. So, you know, basically just, I think they make practical sense when you think about harvesting leaf or stem, root, etc., and what the bees want to do. For instance, the bees want to, if you expose them when the moon is in an earth sign, they want to build comb. And there's this grounding sort of aspect of that, home and structure, and creating things that are the basis or the foundation for other things. And so, you know, so what I've been experimenting with and trying to develop an intuition for is, you know, what in the life cycle of the hive is the appropriate time to open it up, knowing that you're going to want to expand the hive and you don't have a lot of drawn comb. Well, you know, I'm going to want to do that on an Earth Day so that they're filling these frames up and that they're just inspired to do that. Because otherwise, I mean, we've seen a beekeeper has seen the alternative, which is they're doing a whole lot of that, which, yeah, I'm not, you know, they're very intelligent beings. Like, I think that has to be, you know, or they're unintelligent being almost, right? So it's not to say that they're going to get it wrong, but it's a gentle guidance, you know, just to kind of push them in the right direction. And so, you know, we've seen the alternative, which is, you know, maybe they're doing more brood laying or honey collection or conversion when they really need to be building comb, so they have more place to put stuff, right? The nectar flow is about to pop, you know, and you know, no one wants to get left behind. You don't have enough boxes to put all the jars that are coming in, right? Or whatever it is. You don't have enough jars to put all your canning, and you're processing your food, but you forgot to buy mason jars. You know? So, yeah, there you go. Or buy enough mason jars. So yeah, so that's kind of what that is. And then just some other things. I've had only a few hives, but even those with a few hives around here, I don't know about you guys, experience 50% loss, whatever that means. I had this impulse to treat, and this happens over the winter, whether or not that's the cold, you know, to some extent. I mean, cold is weakening, right? Like they're already at a disadvantage, and maybe if they had pressure from parasites and some other things, they may not make it through the winter. So that's when you find out that your bees have died. And so I had this impulse when I moved here and started creating a new apiary I was like, well, they need warmth and they need sort of a force field before the first freeze. And ever since I've been here, I've sprayed valerian preparation over the apiary before the first freeze. And I've had 100% survival rate.
That's huge.
For I guess 3 years now.
Far out.
And I believe I was talking about lenses and biodynamics earlier, but I believe that one of the lenses in that activity is the intention and the communication and going into winter knowing that someone's got your back. you know, is a beautiful thing that's probably beneficial to them too. So, and it's flowers, right?
And the valerian, there's something super magical there. I think you could study valerian for a lifetime and still not know all its secrets.
I found my pictures. I want to show you one. Let me see how that works on Substack.
Okay.
I think there should be a share screen box. I don't know if you see that. Okay, cool. And I know through my reading that, you know, valerian obviously is instructed to support, like you're supposed to spray it before a frost or to help.
Yeah, right.
The bees, right?
Well, I had never seen it with bees, but sure, yeah. I mean, if it works, I'm sure someone else, you know, has also had that impulse, right? But this is valerian. I decided to put a valerian flower under a microscope.
Oh, it's so cool.
And this is a petal from that valerian flower, and I mean, I could try to use language to unpack this phenomena, but I kind of just want to look at it and just see how beautiful and see the light inherent and within it, you know. It's just
I can't see it. Are you sharing?
Yeah, is it in another tiny window or something that opened up for you?
You can't see it? Oh no. Oh, it's so gorgeous.
I can't see it on my phone.
On your phone.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take a screen grab for you.
Yeah, I can send the picture to you guys.
It is so spectacular. It looks like frost and bursting starlight all at the same time. It's like this really interesting grays and whites and light reflecting. It's so beautiful.
And what was the magnification? How
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you. I got this like it's called Dipple, I think. And it was a Kickstarter, and it allows you to put your phone on this little lens. And so I got it because I was like, oh, then I can take pictures. I can take video if there's like soil samples. So some really cool things come out of it. So, but I don't recall, it's not as clear as it is printed on the side of a microscope, which lens I used for that.
I've got a compost colleague who's got an attachment for his phone, and he was showing some kids compost under the microscope. So yeah, I think I can find something like that. But a microscope is on my wish list. Oh my goodness, I want to get into microscopy. So
that's our little apiary.
Oh, it's so cute.
And there's Mr. Banks, the owl in the background. Yeah. And then this is the little drawing that's in the calendar.
It's beautiful.
And sort of this vascular aspect to her. Well, there you go. Aside from our friend not being able to see it, screen sharing seems to kind of work on Substack.
Yeah, it's cool, right? These live features are really awesome. We were doing Zooms and recording Zooms and then uploading them. And then it was like, why wouldn't we do this? This is so much more intuitive. And, you know, just this as a community building, it's so simple. People can hop on. It's so cool.
We're just scratching the surface of this particular platform, I think. I mean,
I know. And Katrina's been amazing at like one of the big things that Katrina's done for the Flower Project is just these voice notes, and she's using all these different ways to keep the conversation going, and that has been so inspiring because I think I can get it really in my head around having everything be long format and really like it has to be so perfect, and you know, and here we're really trying to throw that out the window and just be ourselves and be authentic, and you know, it works better. What's that?
I said, I feel that so deeply. You and me have a particular challenge with like perfection, I'm sure.
Yeah, to our own detriment.
Yeah.
I sent those pictures to you, Katrina, so that you can see them. It's so cool. And I have quite a few friends up north, and they all have tried hives. And all of them last year died on every single homestead, every single farm. And they don't know what it is, if it's parasites. But then one of the major apiaries in the Muskoka region, which is where I live now, is outside of Toronto, and it's and they lost over half. So I wonder, and it's been these brutally cold winters, like, really, really long. Like last February was, I don't know what it would be in Fahrenheit, but it was just like, it was minus 36 here. I know that's like crazy cold, like almost minus 40s. Like it was awful. So I wonder, I'm going to talk to them about this valerian, because we're all now finally, thanks so much to what Katrina has brought and gifted me the knowledge of how to grow these plants. Because I think that was the other thing, was that I was so reliant on buying the preparations from others, and not actually having my own stock, like my own biodynamic garden that was all of the plants. And so it's taken me quite a while to get them established and to get them growing. Do you grow all of your own on your homestead?
I'm still working on that a little bit myself. Valerian, it's like I've got it down, but at the same time, sometimes it surprises me, and it's like I don't want to live here anymore, like at this particular spot,
Yeah, it's funny. It does tend to be slightly mercurial.
I think it wants, like, it actually wants the degraded spots. And so what happens is you give it this love and maybe some compost, and it's like, no, thank you. Like I want some clay. Acid. Yeah, give me something like with some rocks in it. But that's the thing, is once you cultivate, right, you're creating nutrient and you're like creating good soil, and then it's like, then it wants to back out. So that's been a little challenging. I mean, dandelion pretty easy, though mesentery much harder to get for me. Yeah. In fact, I can't tell you how many Amish butcher conversations I had where they're like, what kind of redneck are you? And I'm like, actually, it's kind of some of the old ways. Maybe even some of your Dutch ancestors were into some stuff like this. Yeah. They're like, you want me to save what? And these are Amish butchers. I mean, they're like delivering the whole thing to some people, but dandelions, obviously pretty easy. I can get stag bladders from my hunter friends. Chamomile, I've tried it. It's another one that's a little that I struggle with.
I struggle with chamomile too. I don't know. I'm always like, I think I have a very choleric personality, and I always think I'm too like
bossy for it.
Like, yeah, like I'm too like telling it what to do, and it's like, oh, whoa, like this is a little too much for me, So I find that really interesting. It took me forever to establish it.
I know these things will come, I really do. And so, I just keep working at it, trying new stock. And, speaking of stock, like the other thing about the bees is, I don't think it matters so much where you get your bees from if you're in a more equatorial region. But being in the north, I think it's pretty important to get some naturalized bees and not Georgia bees, which is where most nucleuses come from, when they sell packages, when they're selling packages. They'll just ship them all from Georgia, and these bees are not used to some of the stresses that come with being in zone 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So I think the bees that I have survived, I should also say, were wild caught in Lancaster County where I live.
I think that's so important, because the other thing too is that then if you're bringing these other bees in, that they actually do kind of disrupt or can take over for the natural bees that were already there. I find that that's an interesting thing to balance too, because you want to be making your own source of honey, and you want to be working with these incredible intelligent beings, and then you're also introducing like a foreign entity into your ecosystem. And so one of the things that I've really focused on is building relationships with my wild bees that are here. And I'm in this like suburbia in where I was gardening and just moved now, but everyone would often spray. On the other side, they're spraying pesticides and they're spraying, and then I'm like they're doing all my biodynamics in like my strip of my garden, and it's just alive with bees. It's like crazy bees everywhere, and then like literally the next between the driveway and the next, it's like nothing, right? And so I find that really interesting too. That they'll talk to each other and they'll tell each other, and then they'll come and they'll join, and so building little bee hotels has been something that was a great thing that my daughter and I would do to support and help to house them, to give them somewhere to be, the natural ones. So yeah, anyway, I find
and that's another thing, that, I mean, they do know the difference between contemporary, organic, and biodynamic,
oh yeah.
So I've treated very broadly with all the preparations, including Pfeiffer Field and Garden spray, from JPI, doing the rhythm, applying that to agroforestry, which is really what we do here.
Yeah.
And then and even the making of, even the making of preps is applying of preps. It has a similar effect and impulse, digging a hole, gathering, having joy and creation happening on it. But my point in showing you some of these pictures is that, and yeah, there's, I have plenty of white oak here, which is beautiful.
Oh, wow.
I've got the equisetum growing just down the way. My neighbor lets me collect it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yarrow flowers all over the place. Beautiful thing. And even I love this picture. This is the silica that's readily available, just popping out of the ground, growing here, basically.
Wow, so much abundance.
Yeah, so creating that, but and the ruminants and everything. So, wide use BD 500. The bees are feasting on. They're feasting on a lot. They're taking sips from the Susquehanna River, which is less than a mile from us. But a lot of times they're gathering black locust from black locust blossoms and other floral in the area, and the entire farm, every square inch of 13 acres has been treated biodynamically. Mm-hmm. I didn't hold back, and it was a lot of work, but basically for the first, these first 3 years, I've treated the entire property.
Yeah.
When I treat, maybe with the exception of 501, which I would need like an airplane to, to take care of that. But
that was going to be my next question.
Right.
Including 501.
Drone.
That's a lot of walking.
But the point is, I think that they are getting, they're getting the best treatment in terms of even what they're gathering and where they're living. We are adjacent to contemporarily farmed and sprayed corn, wheat, soy. But to your point, I don't really see them over there.
Yeah.
I think they kind of know better, which is probably another reason that they're alive. But there's, I think over and over again, you see that there's intelligence in the preparation. Some of them are designed specifically for intelligence.
Yeah.
And the intelligence of land and the intelligence of community. an organism. So I think that is a benefit to them as well.
And you're making your own Three Kings as well?
Yes, I mean my own in terms of I can't get frankincense or myrrh locally sourced, but
Yeah, but you're doing
but
the
I'm
process.
compounding it, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think that I'm feeling like Three Kings is gonna mark anniversaries now.
Okay.
That I think it was a very important initial perimeter treatment. And now I think I'm just gonna kind of plan for for when the Three Kings, and it'll be a little more special.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
It's supposed to really help the container, right? And the relationship between you and the elementals. I've never had a chance. I've never gotten my hands on Three Kings. My other mentor, my biodynamic mentor, she made it this Christmas for the first time, and she wrote me this big long story of the saga of trying to get the materials. And she said she found that there was almost this like resistance, and she felt this interesting resistance, like opposing forces that kept preventing her from being able to make it, and she had to create a lot of will and a lot of drive and use a lot of will to actually make it happen. And I thought that was interesting, that that there's these kind of ethereal forces, just as they're so happy to receive it, there's others that seem to suppress it at times, and that like it takes this real will to give this, to do this work, and to persevere and to maintain the discipline and the determination to do it. So I also think that that's really important. It's really beautiful that you're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, elemental work is probably, there's some people like Stuart Lundy, who understand deeply sort of the scientific effects of a particular preparation on a particular piece of land, right? I think I focus a little more on the spiritual and philosophical and the elemental work, and the elemental beings can be influenced one way or the other. And I think that if they've been influenced in a way that we would perceive as negative, they're going to be resistant to that change, is the sort of the thing that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, and maybe intuitively you're picking up on that, because this property that she is now on and that she's working with closely, she's bringing biodynamics to it, but it had been clear cut. It had been logged in the Algonquin provincial parks. Like, this is close to where everything had been completely cut down. So there was major trauma that had been experienced by the elementals and by the plants and trees in that ecosystem. So if I find it really, it's so fascinating. It's so interesting. I'm with you that I really focus a lot on the philosophy and the spirituality of this work.
Yeah. Katrina seemed particularly curious about that statement. What came to mind when we were talking about the elementals being influenced?
There was something you said about them being resistant because of the damage that had been done. That like, what? Hang on.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking more resistant to change, so they had kind of become a different being, or been aligned differently. And so
we did a study group here in New Zealand, and the chair of our Biodynamic Association got the prep from JPA and mixed it and then got it out to, I think there were 5 or 6 of us, and it was written up for the association newsletter. But they said, don't use it unless you're prepared to actually take hold of the responsibility of working with elemental beings. So you need to have done all the preparations and be at a state. And I kind of looked around and went, I'm not entirely sure I'm there, because it's not my land I'm renting.
Yeah,
I'd done all the preps, but it was focused on my little sort of quarter of an acre, not the whole 3 acres. But I did it anyway, and tuning in afterwards, I had this picture of the elemental beings like hand in hand around the periphery, looking in and singing what is that? Beethoven's Ode to Joy.
Yeah.
And like I'd done a really sort of extra strong border of it down the bottom of the property along the railway line. And I know, like where I live, it was stolen land that was settled in the 1860s. And actually yesterday I was at the museum and I found this poster advertising the auction of the land.
Wow.
Before they had even pushed the Māori off.
Wow.
Like it was all mind-boggling. And then more trauma when they put the railway through, just carving up the land. But
not unique to us North Americans, apparently.
But the elemental beings loved it. They embraced it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it is a really good thing, and it is such an intention, and it's so closely tied to the story of Christ and that impulse. It's just a beautiful tradition, and I always save a little and go and do the perimeter of the Waldorf School in Marietta. So
lucky them.
Yeah. In fact, I stirred together with several teachers that were willing 2 years ago. So that was nice.
Nice. Now we are coming up to 10 o'clock. Well, 10 o'clock in New Zealand, the hour where it is. Curious with the equinox theme coming into spring, are you going to grow the flowers? Are you going to have a go at the floral compost activator? Have you already? What's the mood down there?
Yeah, I would love. I've really got to dig into your recipes and the things that you've been developing. I'll definitely be growing some flowers. Trying chamomile again this year, so wish me luck. The valerian I'm thinking is going to come back where I put it last year. We'll see about that. Last summer, or this past summer, I was able to go down and collect valerian with my mentor in Maine, Jennifer Green. Have you ever heard of her work? She's the Water Research Institute. And so she has been doing esoteric water research for decades, including with Wolfram Schwank, Theodor Schwank's son, who's kind of Herestrid descent or schooling. And my whole family visited her, and we picked valerian flowers together, and it meant so much to her that we drove out and did that together. And she sat in the chair while she directed me how to press the flowers and everything, and it was great. So valerian again for sure. We got so many beautiful things coming up post equinox here. Still waiting for buds to bust, but like we've been planting and planting and planting for 3 years. We've been leaving areas, like not stopping the assault on various areas. Like I think before we were here, and the wonderful land stewards before us, but I think it was just kind of free range with UTVs and ATVs, right? So like just seeing like what comes from stopping your stopping your assault, stopping your intense being on a land. So yeah, all kinds of beautiful things coming up this spring for us. Looking forward to seeing how the bees did over the winter and working with them. I'm growing. I mean, this is kind of a total side thing, but a friend of mine from Louisiana, Leave It to the Cajuns, bred the hottest pepper in the world. It's like 3 million Scoville, and he wanted a seed crop. And so that's the only pepper I'm growing on the farm this year. It's the Primo 7 pot. And so if you get into that, super hot is a complete culture. There's documentaries and shows and events and all kinds of stuff. So I'm growing a seed crop for him. So I'll probably have a hot sauce that's weapons grade this year, and a whole bunch of pepper seeds. and I'm growing garlic, and I'm growing okra.
Okay. There's a new project kicking off in a week or so. I've joined the Seed Enterprise training with the BFDI, and my proposal is called Seeds for the Soil. So I'll be looking at promoting people to grow seeds for the flowers, for the floral compost activator, for the compost, to improve everything.
Yep.
So, yeah, the seed raising and seed processing, and then seed selling is a new
And
thing.
here's a fun biodynamic question for you in that, and something I've been like very loosely experimenting with. If you want to grow a seed crop of flowers, do you plant it on a flower day or a fruit day?
I think you plant it on a fruit day because you want all the seeds, I think, but it's a tricky. I mean, I think it's
do both.
Yeah, do both.
Out, right?
Half and half, right? And see.
Yeah, because I think if you're developing that which you want to harvest, that could be an interesting part of the cycle.
Interesting. I was out in the garden this morning with these community calls. I do like a flowers of the day, pick of the day for a blend that I've never done before. And out in the garden, question for you. I've got the chili peppers.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Those are pretty.
And so the flower, that bloom at the end there, that'll go into today's floral compost activator. Nice. But I have this feeling of each point of the year, what do we want the activator to do for the compost? And you know, in New Zealand, sure, it's autumn and we want everything to go to sleep and rest, but we keep growing all year round. That part of me wants to kind of fire it up and give it the quality of that heat. But spiritually, how does that sit for you guys? I know it's a hard picture to kind of comprehend when you're in spring, not autumn.
Well, I think the flower must be the key to that, because you don't want to handle a compost prep activator that has all kind of capsicum in it, right? But like I feel that the energy of the pepper is in that flower too, and then it matches with your other ingredients. I think that's wonderful.
So I've got that. I've got feverfew, which is one of the herbs that's just thriving. Like I cut it all back and it's flowering again. So part of me is wanting to kind of study the herbal sort of the herbal side of each of these. Nasturtium, another kind of fiery flower that's going in today's blend. Yarrow, stinging nettle, tansy. And this is one that in my nature communication practice has popped up over and over again when I'm working with odor or like with the chickens that I compost, mortality composting. That feels important. Then lavender and mugwort. Now, mugwort doesn't really have a flower. I'm wondering about the leaves or the bark. Any thoughts on that?
Yes, and I love mugwort. I have such a relationship with mugwort. I think the leaves are one of the most floral things in the plant kingdom, the leaves of mugwort. I mean, they're so the smell is so intense. They even have a softness to them. But I feel pretty good about that.
And like the mugwort and the lavender, there's a real sort of like dreamy, sleepy. They're the sort of rest, but it's intense.
I recently made some whipped tallow facial rub with echinacea and mugwort in it, and hoping that and it's a mugwort infused oil, so I was hoping that it might induce some lucid dreaming, But I think I messed up the oil. I cooked it too hard and too long. But yeah, but it's still a nice it's still a nice smell and bedtime face treatments.
Yeah. Yeah. And aren't we lucky we get to do these things over and over and over and over and over and refine and practice and perfect.
Seeking quality, trying to figure out what that means.
Yeah. I am studying Māori weaving, and
yes,
it's the latest project there. And I'm so proud. I can't believe I made this from scratch. But my teacher, the last class we had, she wasn't a telling off, but she said, "Katrina, stop striving for perfection, and keep the squares and the rectangles and straight and tense."
Oh man.
There is something in that kind of the good enough is perfect.
Yeah, and in striving for perfection, we often don't attain it. So it's interesting how that letting go can create higher quality things.
Yeah. Kate, do you want to say anything about spring?
I'm looking forward to it, to see what comes back after last summer's epic search for all of these 6 main plants. I now have them all, so let's see what comes back, and I'm focusing a lot on my mother's property, so that'll be a lot of what I'm doing, growing a lot of medicines there. So I'm excited for that.
That's great.
Okay.
Cool. Right. Well, I say we wrap up here, and this has been a joy, and we need to keep talking. Not sure how we tee up or connect, or we'll work it out.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I just dropped you a random WhatsApp one day, and you happen to be doing this, and here I am, and this is super fun. Thank you.
Thank you. And your insights on the honey are gonna percolate and deepen. So thanks so much for all your work there.
Yeah.
10:02 here. Blessings to both of you. And Kate, let's aim for the solstice catch up as the next big point in the year.
Absolutely. I'm sure. I know we'll chat lots before then, but absolutely.
Yeah, we will. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.